would make fun of you, except every word is true. They've set up the fake economy in the United States. This town was built on manufacturing, men making things with their hands. And that's been replaced by lending money at interest and selling the same piece of ground over and over and over. Real estate. And they hate strength. They hate strong men above all, obviously. I was talking to someone the other day who's not conservative who said to me off camera, you know, the chemicals in our water, for example, are changing the sex of frogs. And I didn't want to be mean. But I did say, are you telling me they're turning the frogs gay? And this person didn't get the reference at all and goes, yeah, that's basically right. Everything you've said about the chemical poisoning of the human body is now just kind of accepted. Like, is it weird to see science catch up to you?
Well, I mean, look, what happened, and I knew what they were doing. This is like 15 years ago. I did like an hour-long analysis from South African University and a university in Japan, a university of, I think, Rice in Houston, and the University of Berkeley in California, that just a little bit of atrazine would bend the gender of almost all the frogs, sterilize a lot of them, and turn a large portion of them where they would try to have sex with males. It confused them so much in their development as embryos floating around in the creek or pond. And so I did all that science, and then I said, listen, this isn't about hating gay people or something. This is about chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. And I went on to say, and then their populations collapse and they die, and the frogs are a microcosm of us. Well, then within 2 weeks, every late night comedy show, every one of them came out and did a monologue and attacked me, and then it turned out later that they were being directed by major foundations and the CIA. They even later bragged, oh yeah, Chuck E. Schumer, we work with a body with him in a foundation. They actually came to them with a script that said attack Alex Jones, because they went, ignore the hour of serious stuff he talked about, make it a joke. So their joke about frogs made it blow up even bigger in their face. But you have to understand, they know people don't believe the news anymore, at least for 20 years. So it's the nightly comedy shows that are totally written by the globalists, and they give the comedy writers what they want them to do. And so whenever you see them, like, oh, look, the shots are good, we're all getting them, take 10, it all works wonderful, arrest Donald Trump. That's literally the CIA, the Carnegie Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation assaulting you when you're at home drinking a beer trying to watch some comedy. And so that's, people think I predicted. God, he was right. The frogs are all turning gay, and then they're dying. No, it's been known forever, and that's Bertrand Russell. He wrote back in the 60s, he said, we ought to have a world government that just drops hydrogen bombs on most of the populations, because the too big a population will have wars. So we have to have a controlled nuclear war, and that'll fix it, and create all this. And he also went on to write a bunch of books. You can go pull his quotes up. And so, listen, they used to have all these top globalists were very honest about it in the 70s. They used to have, like Paul Ehrlich, you can pull this up on Twitter or anywhere, X. Paul Ehrlich goes on a TV show in '79, one of the big Hollywood shows. He goes, listen, we're working with the foundations, and we're going to have every father figure be lazy and stupid and dumb, and that'll break up the family, and then the kids that do live, we'll control them by the state, but everybody else will abort the kids because there's too many people, and we'll all be dead by 1987 at current rates. It's a Malthusian. None of it was true. Like Al Gore saying by 2017, all the ice caps would melt. They're bigger than ever. It's all lies. They know it is. But back then, they were very honest about, he was all over, 60 Minutes, you name it. Oh, yeah. We're going to destroy the family because the family creates people, and too many people's bad. They're public, so almost everything I say is from these dirtbag scumbags. You go read the World Economic Forum. They say no humans by 2045, only cyborgs. The future's not human. Listen, I remember reading in scientific publications when I was first getting on air 30 years ago, because there's almost no shows like mine then, so I was on a bunch of radio stations, got on a local station, figured out how to syndicate, called a syndicator, said, hey, can I get on? They put me on a bunch of stations. And boom, and then people are sending me stuff. So I had like MIT Quarterly coming to me saying, we've made the first humanized mice that are part mice, part human. We've made the first goats that are part spider that create body armor, but we don't show the public these facilities. It would freak them out too much. That's 30 years ago. Now you hear about the humanized mice that are part human, or salmon that are part grasshopper that grow twice as fast and kill all the real normal salmon. And just, folks, Tucker talks about aliens and absolutely there's stuff going on. The globalists are making aliens by mixing humans and other animals and insects and plants, and then they put them, they gestate them and use cow uteruses to grow them. This is going on everywhere. So there's like a breakaway whole civilization that's separate from us that the globalists have, with life extension technologies and cures to cancer and Parkinson's. But instead of giving us all the cures, they're keeping that for themselves, and they're just getting ready to wipe all us out so we don't even have access to that, whether you think of it as moral or not. But they even had, people didn't believe me when I talked about it when I was reading the documents, because we weren't on TV then. I'm reading this on air, and people are thinking that they weren't all getting MIT quarterly. Then MIT, about 7 years ago, look this up, humanoid hybrid chimeras are gestating at facilities across the United States. And it goes on to say, part pig, part human, part cow, part human, so that they won't be rejected by the cows that are growing them. They then harvest the organs, they harvest the stem cells, and they've got facilities now with thousands of cows per facility with humanoids growing in them. And this is in the literature, and they don't like me because I go, here's the literature, but they won't let you on the basis. And let me tell you, with the spider goats 25 years ago, I call up one of the places in New York where they've got goats that are part spider, okay? And their milk makes body armor. And I get the head guy, a private contractor in the Pentagon. He's happy. Like, he comes on. 2 days later, he calls back. He goes, "The Pentagon's really mad. They didn't even tell me it was classified. They're going to kill me if you don't take down that interview." Okay? So you're hearing all this. Look up spider goats, 30-year-old stuff. Okay? All of this. So as good as I tell you stuff is, it's also bad because there's a breakaway civilization that's really in like the year 2045, according to their estimates. They've already got way more advanced AI, everything else. But they can't get full control of the human population yet, because in an hour, if we wanted to tear up all the equipment and the AI systems and shut it down, we could. It's not that it's bad in of itself, it's how it's being deployed against us. That's why they've got to get rid of the farms and the ranches and the gardens and people knowing how to build things and do things. They've got to make us obsolete first, and then they're going to release the real bioweapons that kill the majority of people. That's why COVID was just a drill, and they admit it was, to get us locked down. So when they release the real bioweapon, you just stay at home and die like you're supposed to. But we're not going to do it. And if they release the big bioweapon, we know who to go after, Bill. We'll bring you to justice legally and lawfully through the court system.
Well, you've completely freaked me out. I got to say.
Well, hey, people always talk about the crazy stuff I said before that they meant. Everything I just told you is not even hidden. You're gonna be like, what, human clones for 30 years spliced with animals? And they're splicing humans with fish, with lizards, everything else. It's all public.
Well, so that's why it freaks me out, because I know you're telling the truth.
But I'm still stuck on the spider. We've been drinking spider milk.
No, they've got goats that are only like.
Al Gore used to talk about that. He would say we have the orb spiders.
Yeah, look up spider goats. They've got goats declassified for 30 years in Tennessee, New York, all over, for classified body armor.
No, it's real. It's real.
That the milk creates the spider web filaments, and it's like literally like Spider-Man, and then you can have like a 1/4-inch body armor of it, and high caliber rounds just bounce off.